What's up, y'all? It's your boy Sean P back again with another edition of Hip Hop Roundtable Reviews. So I hope y'all are enjoying your weekend as the weekend is coming to the close. But I want to get to a topic that has gone viral on the net over the last couple of days. It really hit, I want to say on Friday, Thursday or Friday, I think. And it's yet another hip hop list, this time from Complex on the greatest LA rappers of all time, the top 50 greatest LA rappers of all time. Now, we've seen this format before on the Billboard list of the 50 greatest rappers of all time, top New York MCs of all time, which I both done videos on. Go check that out. Hip Hop Roundtable Reviews. Make sure you share, and subscribe. Also, we also did a video on the top 25 female rappers of all time. But this list somewhat is all over the place. I think, to me, this may be the worst attempt to capture a list of top MCs out of all of them, really. I got major issues with this list. And what we're going to do is we're going to walk through it. We'll walk through the list. I'll talk a little bit about the 50 to 25, but I'm not going to spend too much time on that. I really want to focus in on the top 25, as to really how are they basing this on? Because, well, I'll just get to it. I'll tell you the criteria, but I see a theme Complex is doing on this list, and it kind of goes against the criteria that they have. So anyway, let's get to the list. Let's go ahead and let's talk about it first. So first, let me share the criteria for this list, okay? So you can go ahead and see for yourself as to what they're basing it on. So Complex did a list of the top 50 rappers of all time. They based it on top 50 LA rappers of all time. Three main criteria: skill as a hip hop artist, strength of catalog, and commercial impact and lasting influence. They kind of defined a little bit more. By skill, we mean the entire rap package, delivery, presence on the mic, pen game, and their overall artistry. Since hip hop is an audio medium, we do not have access to notebooks. We did not penalize rappers who have used ghostwriter. So they got the ghostwriter thing out of the way. We also focused on strictly rappers. And this is important now. So while artists like Nate Dogg and Ty Dolla $ign are iconic LA artists, they're fundamentally singers, not rappers. You pay attention to that because you're going to see an artist on here that I think kind of contradicts this. No, flat out, it contradicts this statement. And without out the way, here are the best 50 LA rappers of all time. So let me get to, now that you know the criteria, let me go back to sharing the overall list. Okay. So let's get to, all right, here we go, share screen. Let's go back to share the other list. So I'll pull it off our Facebook page. Hip Hop Roundtable presents the review. So, like I said, I was going to go between 15 and 25. Okay. And I'll just make a couple of comments on this. I don't really get the criteria if they're trying to say, well, it's for skill of a hip hop artist, because Blueface, to me, at number 50, is one of the worst rappers of all time. He raps off beat. I don't know what artistry he brings outside of jumping on trends from other trap artists or other LA artists, you know? So automatically, he's at 50. I mean, automatically, you're tarnishing the image of LA from this dude because the dude is total trash. He maybe has an impact or influence, but it's mostly because of his ratchet shit that he does online with his, ratchet toxic behavior with his baby's mother, you know? And then to put him next to Blue, who is a very, very skilled LA artist from LA Underground and has some notable critically acclaimed works from the early 2010s, to put him at 49, I mean, next to Blueface is kind of disrespectful, because Blue is a very talented LA artist, So, I mean, to me, if we're talking overall artistry, Blue does need to be up higher. People like OGZ and who's the another guy? I think AC Alone and O3 Greedo and some of these rappers, I'm not too familiar with. I mean, their type of rappers, you have to be into the LA scene and be very LA centric to understand these artists. I listened to a couple of their songs. They're okay. I think OGZ has more of a Bay Area sound. I don't know how his artistry speaks to LA. And I don't really see him making a commercial impact on the game. I mean, I don't really know many songs of his that's gotten any buzz online or on the radio. You know what I mean? So there's that going on. But I think some of the most disrespectful stuff I've seen is like King Crooked at 46. If we're talking skill, this guy's arguably one of the greatest 50 lyricists of all time. He needs to be up higher. Ab-Soul, a lyricist, needs to be up higher, who's actually in the news now with the Joey Badass versus TDE / West Coast, but he needs to be up higher. Coolio at 40, okay, I could live with that. At least he made a strong commercial impact in the 90s, even though he wasn't, he was kind of a one-hit wonder, but really wasn't. He's more like a 3 or 4 hit wonder. But the thing about Coolio is Gangsta's Paradise, I Will Give You, is one of the hardest rap songs of all time. Gangsta's Paradise was a big deal. So you could argue him almost being top 30 or what have you. And I think the biggest disrespect, if we're talking talking skills, is Ras Kass. Like, Ras Kass should be in the top 25. Soul on Ice is a certified hip hop classic from the LA scene when LA rap was in its heyday in the mid 90s. And he also followed up with a couple of other good albums. I think Rassassination, was it? That came in the late 90s or what have you. So he was very good. And he's one of the top lyricists ever. You know what I mean? So him going up, should be top 25, So it's disrespectful to him, it's disrespectful to King Crooked, you could say maybe Evidence too. Matt 10, okay. I think him and WC are okay. I never liked their rap style as an artist, but oh well. And J-Rock, I don't know if you could go top 25. I think J-Rock's okay for now. Maybe he's top 25 worthy, but I don't know. But Roddy Ricch at 28, okay? I kind of got a problem with that. Hold on a minute. Let me go in. Roddy Ricch at 28. So Roddy Ricch at 28. So they took off Nate Dogg and Ty Dolla $ign because they're more considered singers than rappers. then if that's the case, you got to get Roddy Ricch up out of there, because there's no way in hell you tell me Roddy Ricch is a real MC. What lyrical skill does he do when he just does vibe records and singing records for the radio? So that's a total violation. If you're going to put him on there, I mean, in the top 30 at that, you know what I mean? In the top 30, and he's kind of a one-hit wonder. So it's like lyrical skill and commercial impact. And when you go to discography, what albums does he have stand out? Roscos has a certified classic, you know what I mean, on his hands. You know, like, so come on. So really, there's that. Now, go Doja Cat at 26, I could live with. You could argue her at 25. But let's get to the top 25. This is where it really gets crazy. Tyga at 25. Let me pull out of this and let's go to the official. Hold on a minute. Let me go back to the official list where they have like the breakdown, because maybe this list is maybe a little bit hard to see from that version. Let's go here and I'll work down. Let me go ahead and go. Let's fast forward to the top 25. Okay. So just to sum up the 50 to 25, a lot of disrespect going on. And I noticed a theme where a lot of these West Coast classic lyricists, they want to push to the back. And it's part of a theme that you're seeing, is that a lot of these lists I'm noticing is pushing back the lyrical artists from the golden era of hip hop. I'll say the classic era of hip hop. They're pushing them back just to kind of give them credit, but not giving them their due respect because of just putting a bunch of guys that happen to have some Billboard songs, like Roddy Ricch. You know what I mean? So there's that. And let's get to the Tyga thing here. You know what I mean? Hold on. Another one, Daz Dillinger at 27. That's about right. But Daz should be top 30. You know what I mean? So that's about right for him. Doja Cat. Okay. Let's get to this Tyga thing here. So Tyga's at 25. I'm going to tell you right now, Tyga to me is the soldier boy of the West Coast. All he did is have a couple of radio hits that he jumped on a wave when Young Money was hot. And he jumped on some hot features and notable artists like Chris Brown and Lil Wayne. But in the end of the day, he's one of the most overrated rappers of all time. Overrated. I mean, I don't care. He said he's got 3 top 10 hits. You know what I mean? And there's some club bangers, but can you name a Tyga album that stands out? You know what I mean? So what skill does Tyga really have? He should be to the back of the list. If he's on there, he should be in the 40s, but top 25, like, come on, dog, really? Like, you can't be serious with that. You absolutely can't be serious naming him as a top 50 artist. You know what I mean? Well, I could see him in the top 50, but no way he's 25. You know what I mean? Like 24, Draco the Ruler. Now, I listened to some of his stuff, right? Draco the Ruler. He's okay, but he has more of a Bay Area vibe than LA. You know what I mean? Definitely, this is a place where Razcos should be in. You could even say a Crooked Eye. You could even put Doja Cat up here. But this guy needs to go to the back. I don't know what skills he really has, and kind of biting off of more of a Bay Area hyphy sound, or I don't even know, can't name. You're talking about a discography that's notable. I can't name any classic or album of the year material albums from Draco the Ruler. So okay, he's a problem. So already you got two artists that are a reach at 25, 25 and 24. Vince Staples, I would put Razzcozz over him easily. I would put maybe Razzcozz. I could put maybe who else could be up there? You know, I would put Crooked I over him. You know, you could even argue Coolio if we're talking hits. And I know some people like Vince Staples. There are a couple of people in our group, you know, Hip Hop Roundtable presents the review. I know a couple of my guests really like that I've been on my podcast, like Vince Staples, but I never saw the fascination with him. I don't think he's top 25 worthy, maybe top 30, maybe top 40, but they got him at 23. So 20, 25, 24, 23 are questionable. I would definitely put maybe a Yo-Yo who was up further. You know what I mean? I would put maybe a Doja Cat, Crooked I. I mean, the list goes on. You could probably put a good 6 or 7 rappers in this spot to take Vince Staples' place from further up the list, closer to 50. All right, so that's 3. There's 3 spots that are questionable. You know what I mean? As far as top 23 is concerned. Earl Sweatshirt's another one. Earl Sweatshirt, number 22. I've been never blown away by Earl Sweatshirt. And you got to tell me, now you want to say lyrical skill, okay, but what standout projects does he have in his discography, you know? And he really doesn't have any, you know, I guess Billboard staying power that makes him, you know, a standout artist from LA. This guy should be top 40, maybe top 30 off his lyrics alone. But this dude, I don't know, he got some songs, but can you name any Earl Sweatshirt albums off the top of your head? I can't even name his albums. And if you can't have now, when Ab-Soul, who is further up the list, you know, from TDE, I mean, some of his albums stand out more than this guy's album. So again, we're like 4 guys in, and it's already questionable. MC Ren, NWA fame at number 21, I could live with that. Okay. He has notable projects, classic projects with NWA, and he is a pioneer LA MC, you know, and his name rings out. I mean, he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, crying out loud. So, okay, I'm okay with 21. All right, MC Ren at 21. So let's go to 20. Warren G, okay, I could live with him at 20. Yeah, he definitely belongs up there. He's got a timeless classic song, arguably a classic debut album, and from his work with notable Compton legends and Nate Dogg, who should be on this list, and Nate Dogg should be top 25. You know, this guy deserves to be top 20. I like that. That's a good pick. That's a solid pick there for the 20. So what else are we doing? Here we go again. Dom Kennedy at number 19. You know what I mean? Let me try and kind of get this down so you could get a clearer picture of it. Okay, so Dom Kennedy, like, okay, we're talking lyrical skill, we're talking discography, we're talking impact on the culture. Dom Kennedy, for the most part, is a underground rapper, dude. He's not that lyrically skilled. Makes some good vibe records, but nothing that stands out. Maybe a couple features that stand out. I can't name a Kennedy album of note that had success even selling records or is a standout critically acclaimed classic. Can you? I really can't. And on top of that, what impact has he had? He didn't change LA rap. And he's a dope vibe MC. You could vibe to his shit, but come on, Dom Kennedy at 19? So already in the top 25, you only got two of them really that make sense. The rest of these contradict everything they say from the criteria. Who's next? Sugar Free, that's another one. Now he's kind of a pioneer, but I can't name any big time albums out from his discography. You know what I mean? So it's like now you're trying to go on like more of an LA, classic era pioneer vibe, which wasn't one of your criterias at first. But then when you go to your criteria, is Sugar Free lyrically skilled? No, he does pimp talk on wax. That's not lyrical skill. You know what I mean? Maybe he has a unique delivery, but I can't name any albums from Sugar Free that I return to. You know what I mean? See, if you're going to make an album like this and you say, okay, great discography, you got to be on an album that rolls off your tongue. You know what I mean? Like Straight Outta Compton, like Doggy Style, Chronic. You know what I mean? That's the albums we're talking about here. To Pimp a Butterfly. Those are the type of albums that give you, a flex in your discography. What does he have? You know what I mean? So another one, like, I don't get that. Schoolboy Q, maybe further back. Just me, I would put Warren G ahead of him. You know what I mean? I think Schoolboy Q is top 25, but you could argue people like Doja Cat. You could argue people like, even like Ras Kass, to be in this spot. This guy really is up a little bit too high, but I do think he's top 25. He does have some standout albums. I think his first album was a pretty notable album for when he came out. You know what I mean? His features, that part in the Hands on the Wheel, that they named here, he Blank Face was a very good album, which came out, I want to say 2016 or so. So I'm with you on him being top 25. Maybe 17 is a little bit too high. Yeah, there goes Oxymoron. So that's a standout album. And Blue Lips did get critical acclaim, but 17 may be a little bit high for him. You know what I mean? King T, again, we're doing the pioneer thing. Is it a pioneer thing you're talking about? Or is it, lyrical skill, commercial impact? I could see the impact on the culture because he's from that classic NWA era. So I guess I could go live with him in the top 25, but I don't know about 16. I don't know. And YG, I guess because of the 2010s wave of YG. And now YG, I'll give him more credit. I used to be really hard on YG because I didn't think he was all that. You know what I mean? But I've seen him do features with Nas. I've seen him do features with Kendrick Lamar, with all of the greats, the greats. And I could live with him being top 25, but 16 is a little bit too high. I think what Complex is mixing up here is, I think they're trying to have their criteria, but they're also trying to placate to the under 30 audience. an under 25 audience with some of these picks, and it's not jiving. I mean, it's either you stick to the criteria and have notable album. Now, this dude's first album is kind of notable. I'll give him that. So he's definitely top 25 worthy. 16 may be a little bit too high. So another one, all out of control. 14, I could live with Exhibit at 14. He's arguably top 10 though. He arguably is top 10. He's one of the most versatile and aggressive lyricists of all time. He's got commercial hits. He rode that late 2000s Dr. Dre wave. He's definitely top 15, arguably top 10. So I like that. Corrupt, 13, pretty good placement for him. Master lyricist, part of classic on classic albums, Doggy Style, and the first Dog Pound album, Dog Food, which is a classic. So I could live with him being at 13. And yes, he was on Explosive, which is one of the greatest rap songs of all time. So MC8, which is one of my favorite LA rappers of all time, I could live with him at 12. MC8's a phenomenal MC, and he spans generations. From the Menace to Society soundtrack, I think his first album was a certified classic, back in 94. And then hold on, let me pull this back up. And he spans generations because he's on Good Kid, Mad City in one of Kendrick Lamar's timeless classics. You know what I mean? So I could live with him at 12. Now, the next artist that's coming up, and this is going to get interesting now. This is where it's interesting, and he already came out on this. So Game at number 11. If we're going by criteria, Game is absolutely top 10. He should be up higher. I would have him like number 8. Seriously. At least 7 or 8. The highest is probably 7, probably 8. I think, and Game made a big stink about this. And at the same time, Game did his own LA greatest rappers of all time, which was kind of confusing because he had Tupac on there, and Tupac is really Bay Area when he represented the West Coast. Just because he did a song to Live or Die in LA doesn't mean he really repped LA. He represented Oakland. You know what I mean? So I understand why Tupac is not on this list as a disclaimer because we didn't get to the end. But he put Tupac in there on Game's list, and I didn't understand that. But I think they shafted Game. I'm not, and you know me, I'm not a Game fan by whatsoever. I did his entire discography, which I think is one of the most overrated catalogs of all time. But he has a certified classic that sold 5 million records plus, and that's the documentary. And this dude is a lyrical monster. He can spit. He's very inconsistent at times, but the Game deserves to be absolutely top 10. They shafted him 100%, and that's coming from a Game critic because I don't like this dude a little bit. I do think I have one on record to say he's the most overrated rapper of all time. I think he's the most inconsistent rapper of all time. Overrated, I don't know if I could go how overrated I could go with him now because he does have a strong legacy and gets a lot of respect from outside of LA as a spitter, even though he does do a lot of goofy internet stuff, but it seems like goofy internet shit is the norm now for a lot of rappers. And there've been some rappers that have done even goofier shit online than Game. So Game got shafted. I'll flat out be honest with you. He got shafted on there. So let's get to the top 10. Okay. Nipsey Hussle, too low at 10. Nipsey Hussle is easily top 5 to top 6 LA rappers of all time. I think he's too low. I would at worst put MC8 in this spot, Corrupt in this spot. I think Game should be higher than 10, But Nipsey is top 6, top 5, easy. They disrespected him. This dude created a whole movement even before he died. And I think his last album before he passed is a certified classic. Certified classic with bangers on there. His mixtape game in the 2000s was incredible. You know what I mean? You could even say Crenshaw, yeah, the famous mixtape that he sold for $100 a piece is a borderline classic. This dude needs to be up higher. One of my favorite LA rappers of all time, and one of the greatest rappers out of 2010s. He needs to be up higher. Eazy-E, I could live with at 9. Maybe I flop him or flip him with MC8. I could also see Game in this spot. Easy is top 10. 10 is probably where I'd put Easy, but he definitely checks all the boxes. From NWA to the inspiration that he had on LA Culture, you know, the black White Sox hat from NWA days that became, you know, staple LA fashion from that hip hop era. Oh yeah, he belongs in the top 10 and has some of the hardest bangers ever. You know, Real Motherfucking G's, Boys in the Hood, and don't forget For the Love of Money, which is one of the greatest street rap songs, the greatest gangster rap songs of all time with Bone Thugs and Harmony. Don't forget about them. Now here I think is a little bit of a reach. B-Real is a pioneer, and he has a lot of influence on LA rap culture. I think now, instead of the criteria, you're trying to give this guy credit because of the Latino angle. I think they're trying to culturally appropriate this list because he's one of the greatest Latino rappers of all time. Not top 10 material. B-Real is maybe top 20, but there should be other rappers in this spot. Clearly, the Game belongs here. You can say Corrupt belongs here. This guy's too high. This guy's too high. And respectfully, Cypress Hill is one of the greatest rap groups of all time. They brought out, you know, weed culture and all that. But lyrical skill, I guess his voice was pretty distinct, but he was not that skilled of a rapper. Who'd he out rap on a song? You know? But I guess because of the weed culture, LA, you know, Latino rap culture, I guess they put him on here. I would not have him in my top 10. Top 15, the highest. I'd even say top 20. Okay, so that's a little bit of a reach. Ice-T at 7, I can live with that. Pioneer has some of the greatest, the hardest gangster rap songs of all time. You could argue his album from the 80s may be a classic. This guy belongs in the top 10. He belongs in the top 10. There's no question about that. DJ Quick, too high, man. He's another LA pioneer, but I would put him top 15. I would have Corrupt. I would have the Game here. Game. This is be my spot for Game, by the way. I would put Game over DJ Quick because Game is a better lyrically skilled artist. Maybe not as consistent, but DJ Quick's always been kind of a vibe gangster rapper guy. Even though he has classics, I think he's more notable as a producer than a rapper. So I would put this guy back further, DJ Quick. Now, Tyler the Creator, this is interesting. Okay, I could live with him top 10. Top 5, a little bit high. But I could live with him at top 10. He's one of the greatest rappers from the 2010s. He has classics. I've kind of been on his case. He was overrated to me for a while until Chromacopia came out. I really started to see how versatile this guy is. At the same time, he has Grammys. He checks all the boxes for artistry and everything. But top 5, do you put Tyler the Creator a Game? I just want to pause on that for a minute. Who is better, Tyler the Creator or Game? Who would you listen to overall? And that's a compelling debate because you want to pick Game, but Tyler the Creator checks all the boxes here. You can see I'm talking myself out of this. This guy might be top 5 of all time, top 5 LA rappers of all time. He's definitely top 10. But if you put Game here, if you put Nipsey Hussle here, I'm not mad. Nipsey Hussle would be my 5th greatest LA artist of all time. I'd put him maybe at 10 or 7, but that's a little bit high. But he does check all the boxes. He's a very creative rapper, very creative conceptually, great lyricist, one of the leaders in the new school from Odd Future, brought a whole different, unique style to the game. And at one point I thought was overrated, but you know what? I could live with him at top 5, even though I would put Nipsey in this position. Now here we go at number 4. I'm great with Dr. Dre at number 4. Don't change anything. Is he higher than that? If we're talking influence, he's number 1. Easily he's number 1. But again, they cleared up the whole ghostwriter thing. Dre never really wrote a rap in his life. So because of that, I'm okay with him at being at number 4. Number 4 is okay for Dr. Dre. If he was more creative as a writer, he'd be either 3 or number 1. Because influential, as far as pure influence, he might not only be the most influential rapper producer of LA, he's the most influential rapper producer of all time over Kanye West. Yes, I said it. But Kanye at least wrote some of his stuff. This guy wrote none of it. So 4, I'm okay with. You could definitely argue number 3 or number 2. So here we go. Just before we go on, there are 3 people in the room now. There's Snoop, Kendrick Lamar, Ice Cube. Now I want to pause on this for a minute. It depends on where you're coming from on either one. Because let's go to it here. They named Ice Cube number 3. Okay? Ice Cube was number 3. Snoop was number 2. And of course, they went number 1, Kendrick Lamar. Now, here's my thing. Kendrick Lamar right now, he's got a classic diss records that are going to live in music history as one of the greatest diss records of all time. But the thing about it is Ice Cube has the same thing. What Kendrick Lamar did with Not Like Us as a diss record is the same as Ice Cube with No Vaseline. Ice Cube had a run in the early 1990s of classic albums that rivals Kendrick Lamar's catalog. Ice Cube versus Kendrick Lamar is a very compelling argument, even though Kendrick Lamar is more of a master lyricist than Ice Cube. And I think the elephant in the room is no rapper has influence like Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg may be the most influential rapper of all time. Just forget about LA. Everybody says, well, he only has one classic and he has kind of a mid discography after that. But he made The Chronic. The Chronic is not the same without Snoop Dogg. All the notable tracks, the classic tracks off of Chronic, which I think is the greatest hip hop album of all time. The greatest hip hop album of all time. Snoop made that album. Snoop was the driving force behind that album, even though Dr. Dre produced it. And he's the most recognizable rapper worldwide. I mean, Snoop, the only thing you could criticize Snoop for is his discography being mid, but the Chronic and Doggy Style trump anything that any LA rapper has ever done, maybe except Kendrick Lamar. So the 3, the 2, and the 1, I'm gonna go and say this. They're definitely in the ballpark, but I think it's a toss-up. You know, I think they're gonna go with Kendrick Lamar, obviously, because right now it's Kendrick Lamar's moment. GNX, the GNX tour, um, Not Like Us, Euphoria. It's Kendrick Lamar's time. And I see why they gave him that number 1. But you easily can make the case for Snoop or Ice Cube. I'm not mad at either one, you know. But I get why they put Kendrick Lamar number 1 now, because it's his moment, you know, and you can't really get away from that right now. But if I want to go and sum up this list is terrible, dude. You know, they put a lot of guys in the back burner that should be up further. You know what I mean? And they haven't been consistent with their criteria as far as skill, discography, and impact on rap hip hop culture. They have not been consistent on that. This is probably the worst list I've ever seen. You know, they really need to redo the top 25. And some of the other artists, it's like they just threw them in there kind of to placate to a younger generation and younger generation of under 25-year-old listeners. But I'm not feeling this list. You tell me, did Complex get this right? Because I don't see it. A couple of rappers got shafted, including The Game. I think Nipsey Hussle got shafted. I mean, if I were to do my top 5 LA rappers of all time, like I said, I may go Snoop, but all right, I'll give you Kendrick number 1. 1 is Kendrick, 2 is Snoop, 3 is Cube, 4, I honestly may go 4 or 5. I might go Nipsey Hussle. You know what I mean? I might go Nipsey at 5. No, let me do that. Dre's 4. At 5, I would either go Nipsey Hussle. 6, I might go Tyler the Creator. 7, I might go Eazy-E. 8, I might go Game. And 10, I might go who's a guy? MC8 maybe or something like that. I know I'm leaving somebody out, but that's how I'd go in that order, you know. Maybe the top 10 wasn't too bad, but yeah, this list is all over the place. I don't really know where to go. And the top 3 is a compelling debate because Kendrick right now, I'm gonna put it to you like this. Kendrick Lamar right now is not only, you know, pushing the greatest LA rapper of all time, he's knocking on the door. Yeah. And this is another conversation for another day. Is he knocking on the door of Jay-Z and Nas now? I think we have to go and have that conversation. Is he in that Pac, Biggie, Jay-Z, Nas stratosphere now? He's not in my top 5. I have Rakim at number 5. But after that top 5, all time, with Eminem, with Lil Wayne, with Kanye West, Kendrick Lamar is right in that conversation. And Kendrick Lamar has not dropped the ball with his discography yet. You want to give me Mr. Morale and Big Steppers and the Big Steppers? Okay, but that still was a great conceptual album. It debuted number 1. It checked all the commercial boxes and mainstream boxes. He had some creative songs on there. Thinking Man's Rap. Great stories, you know, on there. And that's his B game. That's maybe arguably his weakest album. So Kendrick Lamar right now does deserve number 1. And he's pushing on the top 5 of all time list now. Because remember, Kendrick Lamar has been out now for 15 years. You know, the only thing that was against Kendrick Lamar was, oh, it's too early to tell. He hasn't dropped the ball yet on an album. I hate to break the news to you. So, anyway, tell me what you think. Complex, 50 greatest LA rappers of all time. What do you think? Did they get it right or did they fuck it up? I think they fucked it up. But anyway, enjoy the rest of the end of your weekend. Being that tomorrow is Monday, we get back to the work week. I'm going to try and come with some new content coming. Lil Wayne drops next week, so you know we were going to speak about that. Also, we're going to get back into doing some reviews. Now that we're coming up on the mid-year, it was some of these albums that dropped in 2025. But make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Hip Hop Roundtable Reviews, and you tell me. 50 greatest LA rappers of all time from Complex. Is this a fucked up list or does it make sense to you? You let me know. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your weekend or the end of your weekend, and I'll catch up with y'all later, all right? Peace.